Hello, welcome to my little compound out here in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. Got the awning up, raining a little bit. It's crazy muddy here, but I just wanted to get on here and give you a few thoughts. Honestly, when this all kind of went down, I was kind of shocked and a little overwhelmed at first, and I kind of let it get to me for a couple days. Anytime you have your livelihood, pretty much taken from you. And I know there's people that are in much worse situations than I am, that's for sure. But it kind of punches you in the gut for a second. But, the key is on this is to keep moving and to keep moving forward and to get better. So the best thing you can do is make a schedule. I've been making a schedule every day. I get up and I walk the dogs at sunrise. I've made it a goal for me to improve my cardiovascular health. That's something that I've neglected. So I walk, and that's something I don't really have the time to do, when I'm training people all day. And, the shock of getting out of a habit. I mean, I've been training people for over 20 years. So getting up every day and I've gotten myself in a good habit of working on some online stuff and doing some things behind the scenes. And I was in a good flow and a good rhythm, and then training people every day. You get in that habit, and then you're broke from that habit, and it kind of messes with you for a little while. So, I get up in the morning, I walk my dogs, and then I come back and I get something to eat. And then I usually try and do some online stuff, like some of the other businesses I've worked on online. Recently, I've been working really hard to get the Train Heroic software. We've been using Train Heroic, which has been great, just to give people something to do. If you're a Jim Laird member and you haven't been put on Train Heroic, please let me know. I've sent emails out, but a lot of times people don't get emails. They end up in junk mail, or they get so many emails they don't see them. So if you're watching this and you're a Jim Laird member, please let me know, and I will add you to that. Also, if you're not a Jim Laird member, my former business partner, Molly Galbraith, has put out a free body weight training guide, which I've taken a look at. It's excellent. She's offered that for free. There's all sorts of people online on YouTube that are putting up, body weight training stuff. So find something that suits you and do that every day, maybe even several times a day. Just make sure that not every session is like a HIIT session. Make sure some of them are easy. Here in Kentucky, we're lucky we haven't been like locked down like in San Francisco, but you can go out and walk every day. A lot of people have been going to the gorge. Like I've been hiking probably 2 to 3 hours a day, which is really, really good for me. The key is to get yourself better. Maybe you wanted to learn a language. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you have a course you've been wanting to take that you haven't had time for. A lot of us are going to have time that we didn't have before. You can't go out to dinner anymore. A lot of you are stuck at home with your family. This is a great time to Skype or catch up with people you haven't talked to in years, to kind of stay in touch with people. So find ways to improve yourself. One of the things I've done is when I was younger, when I was probably in my early teens, I used to spend hours in the woods tracking animals. And so I'm reading this book. I can't remember the title, but it's about tracking. It's about a guy who learned from several Native Americans who basically learned from their ancestors how to track different animals. And I've been going out and tracking deer and squirrels and raccoons and coyotes. And, even in just a few days, I've gotten much, much better at picking trails up and following these animals and even stalking them. I've been able to get within 3 or 4 feet of a deer by sneaking up on it and then just sitting there and watching it. It's pretty cool. These are things that in our modern life, we just don't have time to do. So these are some things that you can, obviously everybody doesn't have access to the land that I have access to, but that's one of the reasons I got out of town, is because if I was going to be locked down somewhere and if I couldn't work, I wanted to be out here. Even though it's muddy and yucky right now, it's still an awesome place to be. So being on a schedule, that if you don't have anything to do, the chances of you just staying in bed and being depressed and, eating all that food that you bought from the grocery store. I even fell into that too. I was snacking on nuts and different things and drinking out of boredom. So it's super, 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 super important to stay busy. If you're doing body weight workouts like skipping rope and jumping jacks and calisthenics, you can do that multiple times a day. I've been walking. I've been doing like little jogs. I've been doing some hill sprints. I've got a skip rope. I've got a kettlebell. I've been doing some swings. So, every opportunity, like there's, no matter what my opinion is about this or what your opinion about this is, or if it's being handled correctly or not, it doesn't matter. This is the reality that we're in. And so, for most of us, everything's going to be okay. Everybody's going to be struggling. Everybody's going to have setbacks. So we're going to be able to overcome this, and we're going to be able to get through it. The key is just to keep moving and improve yourself. This is an awesome time to get better at something. Maybe it's a musical instrument, languages, like I said before, but keep moving forward. And, if you're really struggling, and you need somebody to talk to, I know there's a lot of people that are in, I know a couple friends of mine that are in quarantine by themselves, because they tested positive. If that's you and you can't really talk to anybody, just message me on Facebook or on Instagram. I'd be happy to chat with you, via Skype or via, Zoom. I'd be more than happy to do that. I have some time allotted for that every day. If you have any questions, if you care about what I think, which you do or you don't, that's fine. Please message me. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. This is just a really trying time for all of us. We've lived in a country that you'll be able to go where you want, when you want, and do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And now you can't. And it's a big shock when you get some of your liberties taken away. It's kind of a punch in the gut, and it's a reality check. A lot of people are bored out of their mind right now. If you're into history and you like books, there's a book called, I'll put a link to it in the description below. This will be on YouTube, called Panzer Commander. It's by Hans von Luke, and he was in the regular German army. He was not a Nazi, and he fought in France. He basically was in Poland and Czechoslovakia in the original beginning of World War II. He was in France, and then he ended up going to the Russian front. And just before they got to Moscow, when it was freezing, Rommel called him to Africa, and he spent time in Africa. He got injured, and then he actually got sent to see Hitler to try and convince Hitler to pull all the troops out of North Africa. And then he ended up back in Normandy, and then he ended up being transferred to the Eastern Front and was captured by the Russians and spent 5 or 6 years in Russian POW camp, which is probably the closest thing to hell there is on earth. And the book is wonderful because he talks about all the personal relationships he developed with, not only the people he fought against, but all the different cultures he dealt with, the Bedouins in Africa, all the people in France, and how he developed relationships with these people, and the relationship that he was in with the woman, during the war, and then also how he got through being in a Russian prison camp, which is horrible. And so if you want to read a good book, I would highly recommend that. It's on Audible as well. I've probably listened to it 40 or 50 times. If you're into history like me, it's an incredible book, and it'll give you some insight into what true hell is like. And this is difficult, but we still have it better than 98% of the people in the world. So we need to look at the positives and not the negatives. So I would encourage you to take this time to get better, do some spring cleaning, do some things that you've been putting off for a long time, and keep busy, because that's the key to keep you from spiraling into a depression. Make sure you take good breaks from social media and you get outside. I'm also going to link a breathing exercise that you can do. It's super important that you stay on top of your sleep. So breathing exercise is like 2 or 3 minutes long. You can do it before you go to bed to help you sleep. Sleep is critical for your immune system as well as getting outside. So there's just a few things for you, a few thoughts. And like I said, if you're a member of Jim Laird and you haven't been added to Train Heroic, please contact me. If you need help with, you're a member of Jim Laird and you need help with some of your online stuff, if you've got some different types of equipment, the program I have on there right now is very general, pretty much for anyone. If you need some specific coaching, please contact me. And if you're just somebody out there who's struggling with this, feel free to contact me as well. So keep your head up, stay healthy, stay strong, and find a way to get better in this situation.